Tehran, early 1950s. Iran stands at a fragile intersection of tradition and modern ambition. Beneath its soil lies immense oil wealth, yet much of its population lives in hardship. The country occupies one of the most strategic positions on Earth, bordering the Soviet Union and sitting at the crossroads of Asia and the Middle East. Its mountains and deserts have long protected it, but in the modern era, geography no longer shields a nation, it exposes it. In the shadow of the Cold War, the rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union transforms geography into destiny. Every nation becomes a potential ally or a potential threat. Neutrality itself begins to look suspicious. Amid this tension, a man rises through constitutional process, Mohammad Mosaddegh. Elderly, emotional, fiercely nationalist, he promises something revolutionary yet simple. Iran should control its own resources. Iran should determine its own future. He is not a general, not a revolutionary commander, but a parliamentarian, committed to legal process and national sovereignty. For many Iranians, this is not radical, it is dignity. For decades, British interests had dominated Iran's oil industry through the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. The massive refinery in Abadan was one of the largest in the world, a symbol of industrial power rising from Iranian soil. The profits were enormous, but most flowed to Britain. Iranian workers labored in difficult conditions. Revenues for Iran were limited. Contracts overwhelmingly favored foreign ownership. Entire neighborhoods near the refinery lacked basic services, even as oil wealth left the country daily. To many citizens, this was not partnership, it was exploitation. In 1951, Mossadegh nationalizes the oil industry. Parliament votes overwhelmingly in support. Across the country, celebrations erupt. Crowds fill the streets. Newspapers print triumphant headlines. For the first time, oil, the bloodline of the modern economy, belongs to Iran. It feels like a second independence. But in London, the decision is viewed not as reform, but as confrontation. Britain retaliates. It imposes a global boycott on Iranian oil. Tankers refuse shipments. Insurance companies block transport. International pressure isolates Tehran from global markets. British naval forces patrol nearby waters. The objective is clear: make nationalization economically unbearable. Iran's economy begins to strain. Revenue collapses. Inflation rises. Political divisions deepen. Merchants grow anxious. Workers fear unemployment. Urban frustration simmers. Yet Mossadegh refuses to reverse course. He frames the crisis as a battle for sovereignty, a test of whether Iran can truly stand independent of foreign dominance. He takes his case to international courts and even to the United Nations, arguing that Iran's actions are lawful and just. The struggle is no longer just economic, it is symbolic. In Washington, anxiety grows. Iran borders the Soviet Union. The Communist Two-Day Party increases its visibility. Demonstrations grow louder. The fear is not necessarily that Mossadegh is a communist, he is not, but that instability could open the door to Soviet influence. In Cold War logic, uncertainty itself becomes a threat. British officials argue that if Mossadegh remains in power, Iran may drift toward Moscow. Gradually, American policy shifts. The administration of Dwight D. Eisenhower becomes more receptive to British proposals. The concern is containment. The solution becomes intervention. In 1953, the American Central Intelligence Agency and Britain's MI6 design a covert operation, Operation Ajax. The plan is sophisticated and deniable. propaganda campaigns portray Mossadegh as unstable and power-hungry. Newspapers publish alarming stories. Cartoons mock him. Rumors spread in bazaars and mosques. Religious leaders are approached. Politicians are bribed. Funds are secretly distributed to influential figures. Military officers are quietly persuaded to shift loyalty. Street protests are organized, some genuine, others paid. This is not invasion. There are no foreign troops landing on beaches. It is engineered instability, calculated chaos. The goal: remove Mossadegh without open war. Iran's monarch, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, hesitates. Young and uncertain, he fears public backlash. He worries the coup may fail. His authority has often been limited by parliament, and he knows Mossadegh retains popular support. But under mounting pressure, he signs a royal decree dismissing Mossadegh and appointing a new prime minister. The first attempt collapses. Mossadegh arrests the officer sent to depose him. The Shah panics and flees to Rome. For a brief moment, it appears the coup has failed. Crowds celebrate what seems like a victory for constitutional rule. Yet covert networks remain active. Money continues to circulate. Plans continue to unfold. On August 19th, orchestrated protests flood Tehran's streets. Some demonstrators oppose Mossadegh genuinely. Others have been mobilized through covert funding. Criminal gangs join the unrest. Conflicting chants echo through the city. Tensions escalate. Violence erupts. Government buildings are attacked. Confusion spreads rapidly. In moments of chaos, perception becomes reality. Military commanders, previously persuaded, now move decisively. Tanks roll through the capital toward Mossadegh's residence. Smoke rises above the city skyline. By evening, his house is shelled and set ablaze. To prevent further bloodshed, Mossadegh surrenders. In less than a day, the coup succeeds. He is tried in a military court. Frail but defiant, he defends himself passionately, arguing he upheld constitutional authority and the will of parliament. He is sentenced to prison. Later, he is confined to house arrest in his village, where he remains isolated from politics for the rest of his life. His supporters are silenced. Opposition groups are suppressed. Independent newspapers close. Political space narrows. The Shah returns to Iran, no longer hesitant, but emboldened. With American backing, the Shah consolidates authority. Oil production resumes under a new international consortium. Western companies regain influence over Iranian petroleum. Domestically, political freedoms narrow. The intelligence service, SAVAK, expands surveillance and repression. Dissidents are monitored. Critics are detained. Stability returns, but it is enforced stability. Economic modernization accelerates. Roads expand. Universities grow. Tehran transforms architecturally. Yet political participation shrinks. Beneath the surface, resentment grows quietly. For many Iranians, 1953 becomes a wound, a reminder that democratic momentum was interrupted by foreign interference. It becomes a story told in private conversations, in classrooms, in exile communities. More than 25 years later, frustration explodes. In 1979, mass protests sweep across Iran. Economic inequality, political repression, and anger towards foreign influence converge. Demonstrators frequently reference 1953. The coup becomes symbolic, proof, in their view, that outside powers shaped Iran's destiny against its will. The Shah is overthrown. The Iranian Revolution reshapes the region. The Islamic Republic emerges, redefining Iran's relationship with the West. The covert operation that once unfolded quietly now stands at the center of Iran's narrative about mistrust towards the West. For decades, the details remained obscured, but over time, declassified documents confirm what many historians had long concluded: the United States and Britain orchestrated the coup. Operation Ajax becomes one of the most documented examples of Cold War regime change, studied in universities, debated in parliaments, acknowledged in official statements. What was once denied enters official record. Mohammad Mosaddegh dies in 1967, still under house arrest. He never returns to public life, yet his legacy endures. To some, he is a flawed politician overwhelmed by global forces. To others, he is a symbol of democratic nationalism interrupted by superpower rivalry. The 1953 coup demonstrates how a nation can be reshaped without formal invasion, through economic pressure, propaganda, political manipulation, and covert coordination.